So the final amp that we're going to show in this shootout is the Boss Katana. This is another 50-watt amplifier with a 12-inch speaker, and it has more of a contemporary look, or maybe you could say it's even in between the Fender and the Vox that we've just shown you. Another amp that is packed full of features and packed full of sounds that I think really goes beyond the bedroom amp territory and into a really usable guitar tool. So just looking at the controls that are available to you on this amplifier, the control surface is on the top, so I've got it laid over for the camera, but if you're using it at home, that's perfect. If you want to lean over and just adjust your tone on the fly, really convenient to have your control surface on the top of an amplifier. At the beginning here, you've got your guitar input jack, then the amp type, so this dial will let you select between different amp simulations and cabinet simulations, clean, crunch, lead, brown. Then after that you've got gain, so that's your preamp stage. You could really dial that and get a crunchy tone overdriving your amp. A volume to attenuate that, so you could have a really distorted sound, but it doesn't have to be ear-piercingly loud. On this amplifier, you've got more equalization control. You've got a bass, a mid-range, and a treble control to really start carving out your own sound. After the equalizer are these effects controls. So on these effects controls, we've got things like delay, repeats, and wetness, the reverb, or here, this says boost or mod. This is super important because if you're using this amplifier live or at a rehearsal or with other people, you can actually plug a foot switch into the Katana and you might set the boost up so when you're getting time for that face melting solo, hit your boost button and then blam, volume increase, melt your bandmates. At the end here, we've got a master volume, but we've also got this attenuation dial here. So we could have 15 watts of power, 25 watts of power, or 50 watts of power. So depending, you might have half a watt of power just at home in the lounge room, or you might have 25 watts maybe in the rehearsal studio, and you might need 50 watts of full grunt power, Boss Katana power on the stage. And then above here, what look like LEDs are actually channel selection buttons. So just looking at the back, we've got an open cabinet design on this amplifier. The power is just a jug plug, super convenient. If you leave one at home, chances are your mate will have one or there'll be one at the rehearsal studio, something like that. There's a 12-inch Roland Katana speaker in the back here. Then you'll notice the USB input on the back of the amplifier. This has a couple of functions, really interesting functions actually. One being that you can download different tone presets from a cloud, from Boss. The other one being this amp is also an audio interface, and it's got this feature of a mic'd cabinet simulation. So it's got a reverb. It doesn't sound like just plugging your guitar straight into a desk. It actually emulates the sound of a microphone on your amplifier in a room, much more natural. You've also got this auxiliary in jack socket here. So you could plug your phone or iPod, whatever your audio source, directly into your amplifier for jamming along with tracks and rehearsing. On the back here, you've got the foot control socket, and you can connect up to 2 foot controllers to this amplifier, so you can have lots of tonal options. You can really be dancing and playing at the same time. Then you've also got this headphones recording out, and this output also has that emulated mic'd amp setting on it as well, so it doesn't just sound like a dry guitar plugged straight into a desk. Again, it sounds like an amplifier in a room, which is a beautiful thing. And if you've got a boutique power amp that you want to use with this setup for those tone aficionados, you've also got your power amp socket up the top here as well. All right, so let's hear what this amp can do. I'm going to start with the clean tone. And what I'm noticing straight away is actually how silent or how low the noise floor of this amplifier is. It's really beautiful, would be great in the studio. right, let's check out the crunch sound on this amp. Now let's see how filthy we can get this amp. I've got it dialed to the brown sound, which I'm assuming is like the Marshall Van Halen 800 sort of emulation. Really trashy filth sound. So I'm going to have a quick play with the effects on this amp. This amplifier actually has a software editor or a phone app editor. So what you can do is dial in your tones or download tones that other people have made and USB those set presets straight into the back of the amplifier. But for what's here now, let's dial in some delay and some effects. And we've got this little tap tempo here. And set a nice tempo, see what that does. It's a beautiful, like a tape delay, chorusy sort of sound right there. And let's go the booster, the modulation dial. Wild. So that was like a flangey effect with the delay and the reverb. It's slightly harder to dial in those custom effects on this amp because you need to do it on your phone app or on the software. But what you can get is a really wide range of custom and wild guitar effects using that method. So it's more versatile in that sense. You just need to access it through the software. What is actually a really great feature of the effects section of this amp is the independent reverb. So you can dial in your wacky tone and then put the space on it after that.